welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Game. I'm here with UNC track and field athlete Spencer Young. Great to have you on, girl. So excited to have your time today.
Thank you so much.
First things first, you're a Cali girl. I'm about to be a Cali girl.
There you go.
So tell me what you love about LA and just
the
being
food.
out west. Yes.
The food. That's
okay.
my first jump to anything.
Yeah.
The food is definitely like the first thing I would say like
Okay.
anybody needs to experience, because like here is meat, cheese, meat, cheese, dairy.
Please.
You need some other food. You need some real tacos. Some
okay.
like
What are some
good
spots
sushi.
that I should hit up out there?
Okay, so you like sushi?
Yeah.
Kazunori.
Okay.
It's good. It's affordable. It's like the first hand rolled sushi bar. There's like one in New
Okay.
York, one Santa Monica,
Okay.
Wilshire. I recommend that. And then Tacos tu Madre is one of
Tacos to
my
Madre.
taco spots.
I gotta check it out
Yeah.
because I'm kind of nervous out there. No friends out there,
Don't
going
be
to a new
nervous.
school. But I'm
Yeah.
excited, you know. I'm an East Coast girly for life, but West Coast, you know, finna see
Yeah.
me.
And you from the East Coast, so you kind of know like how
Yeah.
people work. I feel like down here it's a lot of like.
It's very different in Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
It's very different. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So growing up in LA, you know, you kind of just love being out there, love the school, the culture, the vibes out there. What made you come to UNC?
Yeah, I think I got to the end of my college process and I got down to a couple schools. It was UCLA, Cal, Stanford, and here. And I was dead set. Like, you know, I was dead set on staying there. Like, it was
Yeah.
supposed to be Cali born and raised, you know, get to the LA 2028 Olympics and
Right.
be like, yeah, I've been here. I stood here my whole life. But
Right.
I just got to it and I was like, I think I need to kind of find something different, find a different pace.
So you were initially committed to Stanford,
Yeah.
and then eventually decided to decommit and come to UNC. Walk me through that process.
Yeah, I think I just got to the end of it and I was choosing to go with Stanford because I felt like it was the right thing to do. Like, it was the big
Right.
school, the big name. I did the same thing for high school. Like, I chose my like big name high school over something that was a little bit more of like a artsier school direction.
Yeah.
And I remember getting on the phone with my coach that I have now and I was just like, man, I don't want to sell my soul for this S. Like,
Yeah.
I did it in high school, and this is like my future. This is where I'm gonna make connections. Like, most people have friends from college more than they do really high school, you know.
Right.
And so they were having problems on their coaching staff, and there was like a couple other things, and I don't know. I looked at my parents, and they were like, "You leaving us, huh?" And I was like, "I think so."
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, the tuition prices in California, especially when you're in-state student, I think here, like, if you get in-state tuition, like maybe UNC is like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Like UCLA, Cal,
Yeah.
it was like $20,000. It was 12. You know, you only got
That's
20 grand.
crazy.
Yeah, it's not the same because the school is already 60 grand just
Yeah.
for an in-state school, and so it just ended up being the same price. And I was like, well, I guess I could take a chance.
Yeah.
You know, why not?
So you talked about your coach kind of being like your dad at UNC.
Yeah.
Walk me through y'all's relationship and how he's been so integral to your journey here.
Yeah, I think he kind of took me in and was very clear with my parents that he was going to make sure I was okay.
Right.
And so I feel like if something's wrong, if I need anything, he's right there for me and
Yeah.
willing to step in to the extent that, like, it, you know, is necessary, of course. And so I think he also does a really good job at creating a family dynamic within our throws program. And so I feel like I could call anybody on the team. I mean, yesterday my car wouldn't start. I
Yeah.
immediately texted the group chat, who's going to check my battery?
Right.
Because I don't know what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
I pulled up to the field house. Zach came out, checked my car, and at 4:30 we're going to AutoZone today because I need like washer fluid, windshield wipers.
Yeah, you can handle all that.
Yeah, I said I'll pull up at 4:30. I'll just meet you there.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. So your career evolution in terms of being a JAV athlete, talk about that and why you love throws so much, and like how kind of underrated field might be compared to like the sprints or longer distances and stuff like that.
yeah, I thought I was gonna run my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was gonna do the 4 and the 8. I started off doing the 15 when I was younger. Got away from that long distance stuff, but I thought I was gonna run and that was gonna be my thing. But I started experiencing like growth pains in my heels just from just like growing so fast. I was so young. Like, my growth plates in my heels didn't even close till I was like 15, 16.
What?
Yeah,
When's
so
it
I was
supposed to close?
like when you're like 11.
What?
Yeah, like whatever they should close a lot earlier than whatever I experienced. But I was still having pain in my feet until maybe like 8th, 9th grade. And so earlier in that process of trying to decide, like, well, what do I do to transition in order to let my body heal, I decided to just start throwing. And like the last 2 weeks of I was like 11 years old. So my like 11-year-old season, 12-year-old season. And then I ended up just like being kind of like naturally good at it, just like an inclination towards it. I found it interesting because it was never anything I had done before. And I think I was able to just find my own connection with something that was a little bit more like silent. You know, you're running, like training and stuff, like you could hear everybody's like breath on the track, like people are screaming at chaotic, you. But with jab, you could just like, all right, I'm gonna go pick, and you just take your jab out into the field, and you can just have some of that like alone time that allows you.
So you really value that alone time?
Yeah, I do. It lets me think. Awesome. It's like peaceful.
So you're now a sophomore at UNC. Expectations really haven't matched what you thought it would be. Let's jump into last year. Let's talk about that ACL injury. And kind of the ensuing events after that. That kind of disrupted your whole college process. We talked about it being your freshman year, you not having family down here to support you. Just talk about that experience for you. Like, what was your first thought when you hurt yourself?
Because I'm so type A. We got on the phone call. You probably could tell that I'm so type A. Like, I came to college thinking like, okay, well, I decided to go to UNC, and I walked into my meetings with my coach. This is our plan. Where, you know, I want to win ACCs. I want to qualify for regionals. I want to qualify for, you know, NCAAs. I threw an Olympic qualifying, like trials qualifying mark. I was planning on just like competing there just to kind of get the experience before 2028. I had previously, about 2 years ago, I think, tried out for the under 20 world team, but basically tore my ab on a world stage, basically, whatever type thing. Like, they're like, oh, do you want me to wave you want to wave your hand on live TV after you're not going to compete? You just tore your ab. I was like, no, like, no, I want to go home. I hate Eugene, Oregon. No offense, like, not a good place. But my mind just blanked. What are we talking about? I think I thought that if I put everything into place, that the steps were there, that I clarified and communicated with my coach to like the absolute max, that like nothing could go wrong. And I was actually recently on the phone call with my high school track coach. I needed some perspective, just kind of being at where I am now and why I don't feel like I have any motivation nowadays. And I think that when I got into college, because previously in high school I was self-motivated, like I showed up to practice at 5 a.m. and like I did all those things by myself because I wanted it so bad. I got to college and I thought that because the tools were there, the nice locker room, the, you know, the gym, the everything, that I wouldn't necessarily need to take that next step because all the tools were there. I didn't have to really like facilitate that myself. So I think I kind of lost that spark, thinking that I could just make a plan, practice hard, and that would be enough. But things just kind of like went off track when my first meet. I swear, my first meet, I fell to the ground. I hit like I think it was about my fourth throw, and you have 4 spikes in the back and 6 spikes in the front of your jab shoes, and like they're grass spikes. So grass spikes are like that long, and so thinking about that, if you're coming in at a flat angle and just like hitting your heel, like my shin just like stuck in the ground, like lower leg stuck in the ground, and my knee just like top of it slid forward. Like most people will tear their ACL like cutting. So a lot of people are scared when they get back into training, like, you know, basketball player, like, oh, I cut this way, I came up, and then they just like, you know, knee goes out. But I just was going forward, like that. They just slipped forward, and I hit the ground. And I remember my teammate Jules, she like whispers, but it's like loud enough because everybody went dead silent. They were like, oh, she just tore ACL. It was the only thing that I could hear. the only thing that I could hear. And everybody was like, be quiet. And I got up and I just walked it off with a smile. And I was like, nah, I'm fine. But that was just like the beginning of it.
Were you in pain in that moment?
Absolutely. But the adrenaline was so high.
Yeah.
The adrenaline was so high that I just was like, nah. Like, 'cause I've had little, like, aches and pains during throws. I'm like, oh, that felt weird. Like, maybe I threw kind of wrong, and then the next day it's a little sore, and then I just walk it off.
Right.
So,
the fact that Jules knew.
Yeah.
In that instant moment, I know you're talking about how the doctors here were, like, unsure, and they were trying to, like, doubt you about it.
No, absolutely. I mean, I remember my entire, like, competition ended. I had another throw, I think a part of that entire series. So you do 3 in the beginning to get to the finals, and then you have another 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was my 4th throw that I fell, and I think another throw where I felt that same kind of like catching feeling, and it hurt as well. But I was just like, nah, like,
you kept playing it off.
Yeah, no, I'm just walking off, because the other thing is, Jules is my brand new teammate. We're like first year on the team. You know, I'm a freshman, but she's a 5th year. And I was, you know, throwing farther. I won the competition. It was my first time competing with my coach and him kind of seeing like what my like competition style was. So I didn't want to come off the track and be like, oh, that hurt so bad, that was so bad, that was so annoying.
Yeah,
like, I won. It was my first meet. I was only a couple meters off my PR. Like, I didn't want to complain about anything. And so I went over to our trainer, and she was just like, no, like, seems like you just kind of hit it weird, and she, you know, was touching it. And I'm telling you, like, within, like, the next hour after me throwing, my knee is, like, radiating in pain. And Jules, like, comes over to Kelly, and she's like, I think she tore her ACL, and she's just like, no.
What were you thinking? Were you, like, in denial about it, or you just like, I don't know, like...
Yeah, I mean, like, I trust Kelly so much. I still do. I mean, she's not our trainer anymore. We now have Jasper, but, like, you know, she's a professional.
Yeah.
I'm 19 years old, and that's the big thing that I would think about this, for
so
instance.
young.
You're so young. I'm still so young. Like, for someone to tell me, like, oh, no, you're fine, you just hyperextended it, you know, my gut's telling me, like, I know what hyperextension is. It doesn't feel like that. But she's the one with the degree.
Right.
Like, I
so
barely
you should know.
Yeah.
She's seen this multiple times.
Yeah, I barely have a high school degree. I got it, like, 7 months ago. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm, like, majoring in EXS, but not, like, the sports med side. Just, like, the sports...
You can't recognize a torn ACL.
Yeah. And so she tells me no. I obviously want to believe that as well. So...
And you went 4 months without knowing that you had torn it. So this meet happened in February or
May? It was actually a year. March 22nd. So a couple days ago. It's been a year. I've been dealing with stuff with my knee, and it was like last weekend we were supposed to record this, and it was just like my electricity went out. I was like thinking about my knee stuff. I was like staying with my girlfriend for 4 days straight. And I was like, bruh, like, this must be the reason why I just got sick, too.
Yeah. Going back to you not knowing, how was it, you know, continuing to practice and stuff like that while just having a torn ACL?
Oh, yeah, I remember the day afterwards. No, that night. Let's go to that night.
Okay.
So that night, I'm staying in a hotel because my dad surprises me and shows up to my first meet. This is my first meet at Elon, and he's like, you know what, I couldn't miss this. Like, my mom doesn't even come.
Wow.
Like, I was so shocked. Like, he just popped up. He was like, nah, I can't miss it. I gotta go. Right? So my dad watches me tear my ACL. We go back to his hotel room because I'm like, okay, like, my dad's in town. I'm gonna stay with my dad. Like, have fun, live it up. And I don't know what it was, but it was one of those hotel rooms where my dad's 6'2", I'm 6 foot. The toilet was so short. Or maybe I was just exaggerating, but the toilet was so low.
Yeah.
And I remember that, like, so much because, like, I couldn't sit down. It hurt so bad I could not naturally sit down. And then I had to, like, put one hand on the toilet and then, like, lean down onto my right side. Like, I couldn't even bend my leg. I was like, damn, my shit hurts so bad. And it, like, starts to swell up. I have a picture where, like, my knees are, like, sitting on the toilet and it's just, like, it's, like, blown up this way. There's, like, no definition. And then after that, I'm like, okay, like, let me just get in the shower, like, run some hot water on it. And it's like a, you know, hotel shower, so it's usually like a tub.
Yeah.
I couldn't step over. I put my right foot in, but I couldn't, like, bring my left leg over to, like, get into the tub. Next day, I got to go to Stallings to help them, like, check on my knee and stuff, I almost fell down like 2 flights of stairs because I couldn't, like my knee would just, like a major sign of when you tear your ACL is like you have no like stability anymore. So like I would step and my knee would just like kind of like leave me. And your quad control like basically is like fully disrupted.
So when you went to Strong's the next day, what did they tell you about your knee?
Oh, they did the ACL test. Yeah. They like, somebody like kind of sits on your foot, they like pull forward, do some like bunch of stuff. And it's important to know that when I came into college, like I think I was like 140 something, 142. And then by the time season started, I was probably like 173. And so my legs, like I wasn't holding a lot of like weight in my upper body. I was just holding like all muscle in my legs. So like my legs were so strong, and I think I was just mentally guarding so much because I had such a big season ahead of me. I was so excited to throw. I was so excited to be in college. Like I was that kind of kid that knew where I wanted to go to college before I knew where I wanted to go to middle school or high school. You were
very self-motivated. You knew exactly what you wanted to do and how you wanted to go about it.
Yeah, and everything that I like, oftentimes things didn't go the way I like planned for them to go, but I always got to it by the time that it like arrived.
Right.
So like whatever it was, like the path may have not been like the straight one, but I got there. And so this was kind of like first time looking at my life where it's like, nah, the path was like fully disrupted and the end goal was just like split.
Did you pass the ACL test? Like how did that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I passed it. I'm talking about Kelly did it, Braden did. These are all like people in Stallings. Kelly did it, Braden did it. I want to say there was another GA that did it. They sent me to the doctor. He did it. Dr. Bryan did it. Dr. Berkowitz did it. I think that's his name. Like, I had like 5 or 6 people test my ACL.
So you're passing all of these tests. Did you know that your ACL was torn?
No, I didn't know what was wrong because I was having pain in the front but no pain in the back. So they were telling me it was hyperextension. But like I couldn't get extension. So if it's hyperextension, you're having like soreness pushing to the back, but my knee was fully locked here.
Yeah.
And like they heel propped me, so they put my heel up on something and just like to let the gravity bring my knee down. It hurt so bad. That's like one of the major things that you have to do when you do like ACL surgery and stuff, and I couldn't do it. That should have been a sign right there.
Yeah, and you were dealing with this soreness for 4 months.
Oh yeah, and in between that they gave me a steroid shot. They gave me 2, one in the front, one in the back.
And you're 19.
Yeah.
What was the impact on you, on your body, on your mental health?
Yeah.
With that?
I was just trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
I thought that if I just showed that like the pain wasn't that bad, or like I could get through
better
it
eventually.
Yeah, because I wanted to travel too. I mean, I think the couple days afterwards, I'm like, all right, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, go see the doctor. And I didn't want to miss my next meet. So when you throw jav, like you want to only do a couple meets just to like not wear out your arm.
Exactly.
So I was supposed to planning on doing like maybe 3 or 4. I was originally supposed to do 3. That's the crazy part too. I asked to do the meet at Elon where I tore my ACL.
What?
I did not. Originally that was not on my schedule. I was supposed to open up at Duke, I think, or maybe whatever meet was after that. Maybe not Duke. It was Raleigh. I was supposed to open up at Raleigh Relays, which is this weekend.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah,
so it's really been a year.
Yeah, it's really been a year. Like I was supposed to open up at Raleigh Relays, but I asked to do Elon because I told my coach, I was like, okay, I'm just freshman year, I'm a little bit nervous. Can I just do Elon just to kind of get the nerves out?
Opener, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Other than that, I was just supposed to do Raleigh Relays, Duke, and I was supposed to fly to Miami to do those meets. So I missed Raleigh Relays because they're like, at the doctor's office, you can take this steroid shot, you'll feel better, whatever. I'm sitting there in front of the doctors and realizing I'm 19 years old, I can make my own medical decisions.
Yeah.
Steroid shot, like it's gonna make me feel better. Nothing's wrong with my knee. I passed the ACL test. They did ultrasound. Everything's good.
Yeah.
So everything's good. Like, let me just take the shot. I'll feel better. No one really kind of explained to me that when you get a steroid shot, it like over time the tendon will deteriorate more.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's like the temporary relief, but like over time it's going to like destroy you.
Absolutely. It just like it doesn't actually like heal anything.
Two of those.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like one shot, half in the back, half in the front or whatever, but I took 2. I had 2 little sore spots on my knee, and I was like, okay, 3 days off, I'll miss Raleigh Relays, and I'll still get to go to Miami.
So after those 3 days, what were your thoughts when you were still in pain?
It felt a little bit better, but I was just like, okay. They were like, it takes up to 6 to 7 days, 3 days for me to start like practicing again, 6 to 7 days for it to feel better. And I will say, like, I genuinely did feel better, as long as I didn't take like super aggressive throws.
Right.
But whenever I did, I felt like super unstable in my throws. Like, your right leg's supposed to be here, left foot here, and it just kind of felt like I couldn't put my left leg down right without tripping up.
So over time, you knew your body, you knew that something was not going right, and you said that they told you there's nothing structurally wrong with your knee.
Yeah, those were always the words.
Like,
the structurally wrong. Every time. What is that supposed to mean?
What does that mean?
I don't know, because obviously I'm in pain. I also got to the point, this was like more towards summertime, like right after ACCs or like around that time. They were telling me that like it was stress. Like I was feeling that pain because it was stress. And I have to admit, like, I was under a lot of stress. I really was.
I mean, understandably.
Yeah.
But
I was also in denial.
Yeah, but being told those words constantly when you know your body like that, like, just the mental stress, the mental impact on you in that process, how did you grapple with that?
I did. I mean, I like went to therapy. I've been going to therapy here with UNC, like, sports therapy since I want to say my second week of school. It was one of the first things I asked for when I got on campus. I was just like, yeah, I know I need a therapist, and I've had one since my high school, like, provided them. Like, we had 2 therapists in high school, so I was like, I should just continue. It was something that was helpful for me. It was my first time, like, having access to a black therapist and a black woman. Okay. Simone is great, and it's, like, been a really, like, helpful resource for me. But other than that, like, my parents didn't, my mom was a PK, a preacher's kid, and she mostly did stuff in church. She ran marathons when she was older, but wouldn't say she was necessarily, like, sports inclined. Like, she worked her way through college. My dad didn't do collegiate sports, didn't graduate college. Like, he's in tech and stuff like that. So no one really around me kind of knew, and anybody in my family that did do collegiate athletics did it back in, like, the 80s. Yeah.
And so, going back to your family, you mentioned that you have some family down here, but you're not really close with them, and that your parents had to fly out here to live with you and, like, help you after getting surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just talk about that experience and just how it felt, you not being able to do things on your own, and you just kind of, like, feeling the crushing stress of, like, what do I do? I'm so young, like, I know, like, just talk me through that.
Yeah, I think back about my summer, and that was just, like, horrifying. Like, I'm so grateful to my parents, but I don't know. I'm 20 years old now, and it was just, like, too many times where I felt like my parents had seen me undressed. And I mean that in the way that, like, I needed help taking a shower. Like, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get off, like, the freaking toilet by myself. Like, it was so painful. The thing that they wrap your leg in and then they put a bracer on is, like, so heavy. Like, my parents would have to help me up, but one parent was, like, holding my leg alone, just because it was just, like, I couldn't even pick up the brace.
And they were only here for a couple weeks, too, right?
Yeah, they were here for 6 weeks. My mom ended up staying for 6. I think my dad stayed for, like, 4.5. But the whole time, like, they were using a rental car. We were basically living in my apartment with, like, no furniture. My roommate was doing the furniture. I was just doing, like, kitchen appliances and, like, the kitchen table. But it was so hard for me. I cried, like, every day for 17 days straight. Like, little things would make me cry. I was struggling to eat as well. After the surgery, like, the medication they give you just has you kind of, like, struggling to digest food. But I definitely look back and I could tell that I was also, like, just, like, gaining, like, early signs of, like, an eating disorder and, like, bulimia, just because I had no motivation to eat. I was extremely disappointed, and I think when you work out at a certain level constantly, like, the meals are kind of decided for you throughout the day. Like, I wake up, I'm like, okay, I know I got to eat because I got to go to class and I got to practice. But I don't have time to eat between practice. Like, everything that I did in my daily life was, like, dictated around my workout schedule and my goals athletically. So that meant that, like, school came first because I didn't want to stress around school. messing with my track stuff. And then with track, like my food was everything that was decided around that. And then suddenly my entire day was shut down. Couldn't go to the bathroom by myself, couldn't shower, couldn't make myself a meal, couldn't walk down the stairs without somebody watching me or like just helping me do anything. And I felt helpless. Like, I'm a super independent person that like tells people what I want to do, when I want to do it, and to have that taken away from me, even when I had no idea. It was like I walked into Stallings, whatever morning that was. We were supposed to leave for regionals on a Monday, and it was Sunday. I think subconsciously I should have known, because I look back and I realized that like I was supposed to leave on Monday. I usually pack like 3 days ahead. I wasn't packed. It was 7:30 on a Sunday. They called me in, and they were just like, sit down. I'm like, okay, so what's wrong with my knee? Because they sent me in for an MRI, which that's a whole nother thing. We could walk back to the whole MRI thing, but like, I should have known. They sat me down. They were like, oh, it's torn. They were like, oh, you can still compete if you want to. We'll just put a brace on you.
And they told you this when?
So ACCs is like June something. I don't know, June something. And my surgery was June 19th. So maybe ACCs was like the last week of May. And then regionals, like there's like 2 week spans between each of them, or like a week and a half. I was obviously supposed to compete at regionals. I was ready to go. I was still having pain. ACCs was horrible, might I add. I was seeded to like either win or get second, and not that many people were like supposed to really score on my team, so it was really important to me that like I did what I was supposed to do, even though I just like wasn't throwing well all season. Like I was just like, it was just like okay, you know. But they called me in right before I was supposed to leave for regionals, like told me the news, and that was based on the fact that I want to say about 4 days before that, I had to make a really not embarrassing phone call, but it was like embarrassing. I called Kelly and I was like, hey, like I really need like medication for my knee because it hurts so bad. And I feel like it's kind of weird to like ask for pain meds. It gives like
druggy.
Like I didn't want to like be like, hey, like I want some, you know, some heavy meds, because like
it wasn't like that at all.
Oh, Advil wasn't doing it. I was like pumping so much Advil through my system, Advil, Aleve, ibuprofen every single freaking day for my knee. Before practice, during practice, after practice, and I was like, Kelly, like I need something heavier. And she was like, okay, let's send you in. And this is the part that saved me. I went in and it wasn't my regular doctor. I love Dr. Brian, but it just wasn't him. Like it was somebody else that day because it was like the weekend or something. And he was like, hey, like heard you need some like stuff. Like why do you need it? Because obviously they're gonna ask. Like we're not just gonna give you drugs.
Exactly.
And I told him about like the stuff going on with my knee, and he was like, okay, did you get an X-ray? Did you get an MRI? Did you do any of that? And I was like, no, not at all.
It's already June at this point.
Yeah, it's June. It's got to be like at least June 2nd, June something. Cause
so that was the first time you got an MRI or X-ray.
Yeah. I was like telling somebody on staff here recently that like there were a lot of mistakes made, obviously, but I don't know why it feels like here specifically that sometimes just like doing a little extra part
would have saved you.
Yeah, that would have saved me. It feels like it's like people feel like it's going to be taken out of their paycheck. Like my MRI would have been taken out of your paycheck. Like you're not paying for that. Like just go send me to get an MRI.
And also, your health matters.
Yeah.
Like you came here for a reason. That's insane.
I was a big recruit too. Like one of the top javelin thrower in California. Like I had gone to big meets. You know.
You had far-reaching goals, 2028. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just felt like, nah, we kind of know you passed the test 1,000 times, but it's like I passed the test, so the ACL test 1,000 times, but I'm still having pain. Like,
still having pain, no MRI yet. So walk me through the MRI.
I go. What did I do? Oh, actually, I was living in Granville at the time. I had to move myself from Carmichael to Granville.
You told me that.
Yeah, I Ubered $50 to the U-Haul place down towards like Walmart and like even farther or whatever, and got a U-Haul. First of all, I didn't know that you were supposed to like go online and reserve a U-Haul. I went in there.
Yeah.
They were like, "You're supposed to reserve one." Good thing I looked cute that day, because the guy at the thing was like, "Yeah, you look cute. I'll get you one." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Like, I really appreciate it. So got the U-Haul. I moved myself, my teammate, and CJ. CJ the next day. Yeah. I moved myself into Granville.
That is insane.
So I didn't have a car. Like, I was a freshman. So honestly, like, the day afterwards, I was whipping that U-Haul, doing everything I needed to do. I was like, "Oh, this is the first time I've driven it forever." You know? So Kelly came and picked me up from Granville, took me down to the MRI spot, which is, you know where, I think it's like, you know where softball is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a little bit past that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like kind of like off in the cut.
It's like a UNC Health building?
Yeah.
I think I've seen it before.
Yeah. So I went in there and sat in that scary machine and like scanning my knee and like trying not to like resisting the urge to like just like violently shake in there, you know, like it's like you know, you get a tattoo and I just want to like just like
what's gonna happen?
Right. So I remember sitting like staring at the top of the MRI machine and thinking like, yeah, this shit fucked. Yeah, like this shit is not okay. Yeah, like maybe they're not supposed to tell you the results or whatever, but you're kind of staring at everybody's face like,
so which one y'all gonna say it? Like,
yeah,
because I already know.
Yeah, I should have known.
Yeah.
I think I really look back and I'm like, I should have known. I should have known. There's no way I should have been in pain that long.
But also the people around you should have known, which is the biggest thing. Like, your coaches, your doctors, the people on campus. Like the ACL test so many times and you're missing it every time. Like, how do you miss it so many times?
I guess my leg was just that strong. Like, I was guarding it like emotionally so hard. They said when I got on the table, like my surgery's on Juneteenth. Did that for the people.
Yeah.
I like got on the table, and obviously like I'm knocked out. And I remember after talking to my surgeon like 6 weeks after my surgery, going for a check-in, and he was like, "Yeah, you on the table, you were knocked out, and your knee like moved like rubber." Like it just waved. Like you could just like an elastic band. Like
there's nothing holding it together.
There's nothing holding it together. But when I was awake, I would pass every single ACL test. And like subconsciously, I must have been just in so much denial that like no one would be able to tell me my ACL was torn, that my season would be taken away from me. Like, I knew what that meant. I wasn't ready for it.
Who would be? I mean.
I watched like Juju Watkins like tear her ACL. I was like, she hit the ground. I was like, people knew. Yeah. Immediately she got a test. Like people knew. But with me, it was just like, I competed all that time. I can't get my season back because I competed in ACCs. It just felt like, okay, what was the point of having me? Not like anybody else, but like just like looking back, like God something, I don't know. What was the point of having me like compete all that time? And then it's just like still being taken away from me instead of being able to like potentially have it back.
Right.
Have that time back.
Did you ever blame yourself in those moments? You kept saying that you didn't know, but like that's not really on you to know.
Yeah.
But like emotionally, you just felt so guarded as well.
I blame myself for trusting too much, not necessarily for not knowing that it was torn, like messed up, torn, all that kind of good stuff. But like I was saying earlier, I put a lot of the onus on myself in high school to take the step forward, to initiate like my goals, the things that I needed, reaching out to people, coaches, going to meets that were far away, asked my parents to like fly with me places to compete at these different meets. And I was just mad that I came to college and in a completely different space of people I didn't know, and because I trusted my coach so much, simply because I trusted my coach, and I still trust him at the same level, but that I let that trust expand to the entirety of everybody. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, I trust him. I trust being here with him and his fiance, and just like because they're both in California, like I trust my Cali people. Right. Why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
he's from the Bay, went to Cal. Most of my family went to Cal. Like, I just automatically thought that, like, okay,
you would be okay here.
Yeah.
You could, like, let your guard down and be safe.
Absolutely. But I think I should have. I can't even look back and say that I think I should have, like, taken more of that, like, control over the situation. Because, like, what was I gonna do?
You were also 19.
Yeah.
Like, it was your freshman year of college. Take away the track stuff, you're in a new state, you're at a new school with new people.
Yeah.
Your first year of college was supposed to be so important, so integral in your life journey. You learn so much about yourself, and you went through an emotional roller coaster with that. How did you grapple with your emotions post-surgery and just being in Chapel Hill?
I didn't. I hated my life for a really good, like, minute. I didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, am I gonna transfer? Not seriously. I think back, I wasn't, like, seriously thinking, am I gonna transfer? When I commit to something, I like to stick with it.
Right.
So that's important to me, and I really care about my coach in this program and, like, my throw squad. But I don't know. Like, I don't know why every single day, just, like, it was selfish. That's the first time I've ever been actually like, able to say that out loud. Because I told you I just talked to my high school coach a couple days ago, and I was telling him, like, hey, like, what did you do? He broke his leg in college, like, got up and his leg was, like, the other direction. Messed up his entire, like, collegiate career.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I still feel like I'm struggling with motivation. Like, I show up to practice and I'm physically there, but I don't want to be there. There's no intent behind my actions other than, like, I hate being hurt. I hate my leg being so small. I hate, like, little kids pointing at me in public over my leg. Like, it was just all about me. Like, all these things were taken away from me. I can't compete here. I feel disconnected from my team. You know, my family doesn't know what I'm going through. Rather than anything being like, hey, like, your family wants to see you get better.
Yeah.
So
with that, you talked about staying committed to something and that you're here for the journey, you're here for the long run. How are you able to kind of dig yourself out of that hole and have a positive mindset with UNC and try and just find yourself again? Or do you think that you can find yourself again?
I definitely think I can find myself again. I don't know if I've done it yet.
Yeah.
They asked me to speak at there's that TED Talk thing for student athletes, and I, like, that same day I had called my coach. So that was, like, I don't know, like 4 days ago. Right. And maybe if I had made that phone call a little bit earlier, if I was, like, willing to reach out for some kind of help from someone besides, like, my main everyday inner circle, maybe I would have been willing to speak at it. Because I was, like, telling Bree and Simone, I was like, I don't want to speak at it because I don't feel like my story's over. Like, I don't feel like I have a message to give. Like, I still feel like I'm actively living through the hard part.
Right.
And I still don't know if I'm on the other side or not. It feels like it's been the longest, like, 1 year journey. But I know that I want to stay here. There's, like, certain things that I know.
Right.
So I just have to look at, like, the real things versus the fake. Like, you start digging yourself into a hole, like, thinking about, oh, I lost this, I lost that, but my grades are good, I'm on track to graduate early, you know, I'm happy with my girlfriend, my best friend is here, multiple of my best friends are here, so I have to, like, stick with the things that are real, rather than the things that could have been.
We've talked about kind of the lack of resources there are for student athletes, especially if you're not playing football or basketball. Like, it sucks to be a student athlete. You're not getting the NIL, you're not getting the exposure.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me there's only, I believe, one job athlete who had an endorsement deal.
Yeah, professionally.
Yeah, so how can there be more resources, or how can programs allocate more time and dedication to their athletes in terms of getting them jobs and interviews and internships and stuff like that?
Yeah. I can't speak for every single program. Every single coaching staff has their own philosophy about NIL and how they support their athletes. the reality is that track doesn't make that much money like a lot of other Olympic sports. We're not having track meets here at UNC, and we're not charging for, like, you know, games or meets and stuff like that. Like, volleyball doesn't charge for their games. I think that within a coaching staff, like for track, they can support us from the beginning, just telling us when we walk in that, like, your brand matters, what you post on social media matters, how you show up for yourself. Every single conversation that you have every day is like, think about it like a small interview.
Right.
And try to network down as well as up. You know, the people that are, you know, out from you, people that are below you are going to be people that are going to, like, be in great spaces someday. So just talking to us actively and pouring into us about what it means to make a connection and start to build to the person that you're going to be beyond college, because it ends soon.
Yeah.
It really does.
How have you been able to pour into yourself academically and in terms of outside of track, like building your brand and trying to have job experience or internship experience? Have you gone that route at all? Or
yeah, I'm actually looking for an internship this summer. The thing that's a little rough about it is, like, I do still need to continue my rehab, so I'm looking for something that will allow me to still work out. I was so, like, a couple weeks ago, I was, like, freaking out about it. Like, I need an internship so bad. But I actually don't know if I'm even going to have an internship this summer. Like, the truth is, like, maybe I need to just go home and focus on myself. Be home for 6 weeks during, like, the first summer session. I'm just going to be taking 3 classes online and 2 classes in the second summer session. So I think that would be, like, the main way that, like, academically I'm kind of focusing on things. I added the poli-sci major, so I'm EXS and poli-sci. I know it overlaps with the, not the PPE minor, but it's like the conflict management. Yeah, conflict management, so I might go after that as well. And then making sure that I'm making better connections with my professors. Wayne McDonald, he's like one of the, he's so
an OG.
Nice.
He's awesome.
So,
I ran into him before this. He is awesome.
He's a good guy, and he's like really for the students, and so I really appreciate
He's so
that.
authentic.
Yeah, I had him, I want to say spring semester freshman year, and Tuesday, Thursday, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And on Tuesdays, I would have like 5:30 a.m. practice, which I like did by myself. My coach gave me an option. You want to be in the morning at 5:30? You want to be in the afternoon at like 1? And I was like, nah. I took the 5:30. Like, I needed something to fight for, like a boulder, something to have, like, let me have that motivation. So.
Yeah, and having Wayne in the morning, perfect. He wakes you up for sure.
Absolutely.
He's on top of it. Like, that New York energy is just awesome.
Yeah. And having that reciprocated too, because he would just be in there and be like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be awake, you're gonna be awake. I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you.
Right. How do you think that universities can better support athletes in that regard, in terms of getting them out there and supporting them outside of their sport?
Outside of their sport, I think having professors that are willing to be there for their students for sure. But like I was saying before, it also comes from like the environment that you have on your team too.
Right.
Only 6% of athletes actually go pro. And so we come into college, I think you go 3 directions. You're either just like, okay, I already made it. I'm D1, like I'm here, I don't have to do anything more. You're fighting for it maybe, but not. Maybe you're still living a life where you're partying on a weekday or like whatever. And so it doesn't end up working for you. You don't go pro. Or you find like that rare one that actually ends up like making it through. And so you're looking at those avenues, and it's just like, within your team, is somebody ever telling you that like it ends, that like you need to like go after those things? And then being at such a big D1 university where of course like non-student athletes have their feelings about athletes, you're constantly being told that like that's the only thing you're gonna do, or people like feel certain ways about you. I think that sometimes it's a bubble. There's only 800. We have a lot of student athletes compared to like SEC
we have like
schools.
23 varsity sports.
Yeah.
I think like 800.
Yeah, most like I think SEC schools have 500, and so that's even smaller of a bubble, making you just think that like this is the only thing that happens all day. But how many students are here? Like 20,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a big university.
Yeah, we are the minority as
Yeah,
student athletes,
for
and so
sure.
like we got to get out of our bubble as well too.
So we talked about you finding peace and you still trying to get yourself out of that hole, like get through the hard part. What have you been able to do to find peace and to invest in yourself?
We were on the phone. I told you that was my relationship.
Yeah.
And I think I have to change my answer. She gonna look at this and be like, "Wait, what?" Like, and I love my girlfriend. I really do. But
you talked about being so independent as well.
Yeah.
And like just
I'm a very independent person, and so finding my willingness to be independent again is also something that like it's changing like what I think my peace is. Cause like she loves the fact that I'm independent. Like that was one of the main things that she was just like, I like the fact that like I feel like I could leave or you're doing things and your life doesn't change.
Right.
Like you are your own person no matter what. And I always used to do little things for myself. Like this back in high school, even like freshman year, like my roommate, the lady, she would ask me like, "Where'd you go?" I disappeared. I turned my location off, and I went and found myself like a little spot at the very top of Keena Stadium, and I just sat up there by myself for 3 hours. I was on the phone with my dad, on the phone with my mom. You know, I go like meet my friends, you know, in the middle of some whatever stadium of the day night it was. Like that's how I actually originally started talking to my girlfriend. Like she lived in Parker, and so in Carmichael, you know, 2 living apart, right?
Yeah.
And so we would just be texting, and then I would just like meet her in the middle of the night at Dorrance, and we would sit out there and we would just talk for like 3 or 4 hours.
That's awesome.
Like we would just talk, like just keep it chill. So.
That's awesome. So as someone who identifies as Black, you're gay, you're a woman, how have those aspects of your identity kind of shaped your experience being here in college at UNC?
Yeah. I didn't even come out as bi until like, what was that now? Okay, so I've been with my girlfriend for like 4 months, and I think I told my mom I was dating her like a couple like weeks before that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like that's kind of like I've kind of always known maybe like since like my junior year.
Yeah.
But I think like living it loudly is different. Especially in the South.
Right.
Especially in the South. Like, we be getting faces,
get some
stares,
looks, like...
I like to make people uncomfortable, though.
No, right.
Yeah. Like, I enjoy it.
Unapologetically yourself.
Yeah. Like, I'm talking about even my friends, like, in a daily conversation. Like, I love to say uncomfortable stuff just to, like, see how people, like...
react.
Yeah, like, are you gonna cringe a little? Like, I'm gonna just hold her hand a little extra hard. Like,
that's beautiful.
Just to, you know.
So, she's been your happiness, she's been your peace. And you felt more alive. I mean, like, you felt more into yourself, and that's a beautiful thing. It's such a journey as well, to be able to go through so much at such a young age, and you're still coming out at the end. You're so happy. What would you tell your freshman self? I know we were talking about it before, and you're like, I don't know, but...
I would tell myself, I feel like I figured it out. I would tell myself, like, you don't need a plan.
Yeah.
Just work hard and enjoy where you're at. It's your freshman year. I was so dead set on like everything was just gonna be like clockwork. It was gonna go my way. If I worked hard for it, then why would it not come? Like I'm really that girl. Like why would it not come?
Exactly.
So I just tell myself to relax.
Just breathe.
Yeah, I think that's what my girlfriend has definitely taught me. Like, because I don't have track. You know, I feel like my grades did fall off for a second. Just trying to struggle to get around campus, walking, going to rehab. My schedule was extremely different. I was, you know, still dealing with depression and stuff. So with her, it's just like, okay, like she's very, not, I wouldn't say she's very type B, but just like, all right, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, plans gonna change throughout the day. We'll do whatever. We said we're gonna go to breakfast. Oh, I didn't wake up till 1 p.m. Like it's just like.
Yeah. That fits though. That works.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, what would you tell those who went through a similar experience in terms of getting injured so young and kind of feeling lost and trying to get back to who they were? Because you're still going through that, granted.
Yeah. I wish I gave myself more grace.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I would say.
That's so important.
Yeah. I wish I would have given myself more grace, but had the people around me not give me as much at the same time.
Yeah.
In certain instances, like, I look back and I'm like, okay, y'all should have just pushed me a little bit harder. My rehab got severely off track. Actually, I should have been healed a couple months ago. Like, I should have been back to normal. But I was dealing with so much pain, which I partly think that was just because of, like, I was tired. I was exhausted. I feel like I'm burnt out. Like, I've been working on just talking about my knee every single freaking day. Like, my family members would call me, how's your knee? Parents would call me, how was rehab? How was your knee? My teachers would see me, professors would see me, how's your knee? It was the only thing I talked about. And I think that it was manifesting itself in, like, pain and discomfort in my rehab, and I just, like, was unwilling. And so my rehab got off track, and they didn't communicate with me, again, that my rehab was off track. No one ever said the words, like, your knee is severely messed up farther than it, like, should be right now. Until I got back home in December for winter break, I met with my coach's fiance, who's also a PT, and she was like, girl, you need to get your stuff together, because I don't know what they did, but it's not right. So I wish they had just been more honest with me and pushed me to be like, all right, I know you're in pain, but you got to do this anyway, because what are you going to do in a couple months when you can't sit down on your knees, when you can't, you know, run around or do anything normal?
It's so heartbreaking that they didn't invest in you in that regard.
Yeah.
Like, even from you not knowing for 4 months, that was already mistakes on their part. And then you should have been healed months ago. You could have been back on your journey months ago.
Yeah.
And now you're about to be a junior.
Yeah. I feel like I've been done, like, wrong, like, multiple times throughout my process. I'd like to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous today because, you know, I don't want to put everybody on blast. Like, you know, like, all y'all suck. Like, that's not what happened. Like, things got away from people on all sides.
Yeah.
So
being able to come out at the end of this and being willing to talk about it is so important.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you came on today.
Thank you.
I'm really happy that you were able to share your story and be vulnerable and just be you. Like, truly, like, I know how hard this was, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was Beyond the Game with the awesome Spencer Young, and I will see you guys next time. Woo! Awesome.
Yay.
How'd you feel?
Good.